The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter in each episode, but we do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence. You are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt.
Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 78.
Oh, yeah. 7, 8, 9.
But hold on, don't get ahead of yourself. Shut up for a minute, because it's not just episode 78. It is the finale of season 4 as well. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Okay, the fact that we break it into seasons and we're already done 4 of them, it's just wild to me.
And it's even more wild that the second season was like, what, 27 episodes or something like that? It was like impossibly long.
Who lets us do this? And for this long?
We do, and then people just happen to tag along.
Well, thank you.
Anyways, the hosts who forced you to tag along are Kris and
Savannah. It better not be a hot tag, though.
Well, if you got the momentum, why not?
Yeah.
That's what the hot tag's for. You got to bring the momentum. You're one of the hosts. You have to.
All I'm thinking is, this is a music podcast. This is a music podcast.
Yeah, but maybe you're going to have like a really hot opinion on one of the tracks, and I got nothing left to say, so I tag you in, and you come in and just kill it.
I will never just kill it, but I appreciate the enthusiasm and the optimism.
It's the last episode. I'm trying to be positive for everything. Yay. And we're doing my favorite band today. Yay.
Yay. For the 3rd time. Yay.
Second time.
Second time.
How to Destroy
like 3rd time.
How to Destroy Angels had Trent Reznor in it, but that's not technically Nine Inch Nails, even though it sounds like Nine Inch Nails.
Yes.
Anyways, welcome to the show today. We're dragging on a little bit as per usual, but you already know that if you've been here before. Welcome to the show. We hope you have a good time listening to music, talking about music, listening to us talk about music. Maybe that last part sucks a little bit, but at least you can be part of the discussion, though, because you can show your support in so many ways, and you can be a part of it by liking, subscribing, rate, comment, share, follow. I did that out of order as I usually do, but you can do all those things. So if you have any opinions on the albums that we do, or just what we're doing, how's our driving, by all means, let us know.
Keep them to yourself. Exactly. If you have opinions, keep them to yourself.
One of us encourages it, and the other one's just like, no, you can just go right away.
Yeah, I don't want to be proven wrong or disagreed with. So.
But you're obviously here for a reason, so please show us some support, so that way more people like you can find the podcast.
Yes.
And we got a bunch of other things too, like if you go to ratetherecord.ca, that you can do all that stuff over there. All of our social media links are over there for Rate the Record Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All the streaming links are over there. You can do the album request link that's over there too. It's also down in the description, but go to ratetherecord.ca, just do that. If you request an album, we got season 5 coming up, and we can do plenty more. And we're also doing an album giveaway, which you can find that link over there too. And it's this one right here, the Arctic Monkeys, with whatever people say, and that's what I'm not. So boom, brand new vinyl copy. We have it on like Bungle, so please.
So hard to find.
It's impossible to find now. If you're in Canada, the US, UK, or Australia, you can enter at ratetherecord.ca. Do all that. See, there's so much to do over there, so go ahead, check it out.
Yeah, what he said, because he did such a good job that I have nothing to add.
You're too kind. I did not do a good job. I stumbled my way through that, but just somehow found the finish line.
You threatened me before the show. You did such a good job. Good job.
As if it's only this episode that I did that. But
I wasn't expecting that.
But hey, if you do want to support the show, and you have it just in your heart there to do a little extra besides just doing all those things I listed, there is the financial option. It is completely optional, but it's there, kofi.com/ratetherecord. Another thing found at ratetherecord.ca. But regardless, join the RTR Club, $5 a month. That'll get you access to bonus content. We might even expedite your request if you have one, so there you go. There's always that option too. We give you a shout out and everything. And if you got music that you want us to rank for some reason, by all means, we will do that. So check it out, kofi.com/ratetherecord, RTR Club, $5 a month, or you can do a one-time donation, either or. Regardless, go ahead, take a look.
Yeah, I got nothing. You cover everything so thoroughly that I'm like, I don't even have any rebuttals. I'm like, yes, that makes sense.
And it's funny because none of this is like really scripted. Like obviously I have the point of telling me what I have to say as I go through. Just like mention the website, mention Ko-fi. There's no script though, so that's why I have to say as much as I can, or else I'll just stumble.
Do you ever find that in your day-to-day, you say a word that you say in all of that, and that you just start to fall into just describing the podcast?
Sometimes, yeah, and it usually comes with literally describing the podcast. It's like what I'm about to do, actually. Yeah. So great transition.
Perfect.
So so if you've been to this podcast before, you know that I usually describe the podcast in about 20 seconds or so. So you'll know what to expect, and you know a music review usually follows that. So welcome back. Glad you're here. Wow, that's a bit of a Freudian slip or something like that. Regardless, glad you're here. Thank you. But if you're new here, you're going to have to mind the mess that is my language, apparently. Welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy your stay. We hope that you interact with us, others. Let us know your opinion on music, blah, 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 because that's kind of what we do here on the podcast for 78 episodes and 4 seasons.
Please.
So that means you likely don't know what we do here on the podcast. So each week, Savannah and I will choose an album, be it completely at random, just whatever the hell we want to do. Like this week, for example, maybe an album celebrating an anniversary, which we just did one of those not too long ago, but I can't even remember at this point. My brain's just fuzz. But we do album anniversaries, and we also do plenty of requests, as I mentioned before. We did some this season. We got more coming next season. It's going to be fun. Regardless, we will take the album. We'll discuss it at length from front to back. We rank the songs, and then we rate the record. Yeah,
that might have been most on point that I've ever been.
Oh, no. There was one episode when you nailed it almost like to the T.
All right.
On my end, that was a second off. So there you go. You're not perfect.
I blame Jeff Bezos.
Any particular reason, or?
I don't know. Something about technology, internet, my computer. Who knows? Our connection, microphone.
Something Amazon, something bad. If you're listening on Amazon Music, by the way, please leave a comment and like on the podcast.
I didn't even know Amazon had music, and I was listening to a podcast because my work blocks out Spotify if I'm connected to their Wi-Fi. So I downloaded Amazon Music. I didn't even know they had one, but it worked perfectly.
Put a VPN on your phone so that way you can use it. It should be fine.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I just don't use it. That's fine. But I didn't know Amazon had a music service, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes, and our podcast is on there, so there we go. We are a part of the big corporations.
Nice.
In some way, shape, or form. Regardless, it's time to get into talking about today's episode 78, as I reach over and grab the very fragile old used copy I have of this album. Today, episode 78.
Fragile?
No, it's not, and I wish it was, though. That'd be a 2-part episode. That's a fucking huge album. But this cover is very fragile because it's got that big bend there, as you can see. This is episode 78. We're taking a look at 9 Inch Nails and their 1989 debut album, Pretty Hate Machine. I'm holding it up in front of the camera for audio viewers. There's your asthma. I bought this used at a flea market a long time ago, and I do not know why for the life of me I haven't bought a new copy yet.
Yeah.
They even have a remastered version out with an extra track on it, but I still have a used original. It has no sleeve. The record's in terrible condition. So is the cover.
Just for looks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this was the first record I ever bought, which made me hey, I want to start collecting albums.
Cool.
So there's that.
I used to have it on CD or compact disc, but I don't have that anymore. So here's mine. It's invisible. I got nothing.
I'm pretty sure I do have the CD in storage somewhere. Funny, the cover of the CD is just off camera. Like you can see where the fly by night thing is over there. It's literally right next to, just stretched out. Actually, wait, for video viewers, wait. There you go. There it is. You can kind of see that thing there. It's like, this is like the fucking Weather Channel. I'll have to learn to point.
I see the diagonal pink on it, so it's you can kind of tell.
And at the bottom is a blurry, shirtless Trent Reznor. Ooh, heartthrob. Anyways, speaking of that heartthrob, we have to actually start talking about this album and this band and everything like that.
Yes.
So to those of you who know, and we already kind of mentioned, this is 9 Inch Nails' second appearance on the show. We first did Year Zero way back at the beginning of season 2. So it's been that was like January 2022. That's crazy to think about how long ago that was. So with that said, I'm not doing the full 9 Inch Nails breakdown for the biography here. I'm going to hit some hot points and just mainly talk about today's album. So, Nine Inch Nails is an industrial alternative rock band originally from Cleveland, Ohio, now based out of Los Angeles, California. Michael Trent Reznor played in a few bands in the 80s, including Option 30, The Innocent, and The Exotic Birds. The latter of those bands were managed by John Malm Jr., and when Trent left The Exotic Birds in 87, 88, Trent and John Malm would remain friends, and he would go on to be Trent's manager. Trent began working on his own music around this time with influences such as The Clash, Ministry, Skinny Puppy, Public Enemy, Prince, Gary Newman, Depeche Mode, The Cure, and many, many, many more. My God, that list was infinite. Also at this time, Trent worked as an assistant engineer and janitor at Right Track Studios based out of Cleveland, Ohio. Studio owner Bart Coster allowed Trent to have free access to the studio equipment between bookings in order to record his own demos, and also after hours too. Through his inspiration of Prince, Trent decided that he wanted to play all the instruments himself, at least on all the earlier recordings, except for drums, which were electronically programmed. Nine Inch Nails would catch their first big break by opening for Skinny Puppy in 1988, which led to Trent signing with TVT Records later that year. He would go on to record a 9-track demo entitled Purest Feeling, and that would be the first time that he ever released, and most of that session of tracks would eventually be reworked for the 1989 studio debut album of today's pick. That being Pretty Hate Machine. It was released on October 20th, 1989 through TVT Records. It was recorded through multiple studios, including Blackwing and Roundhouse in London, The Right Track in Cleveland, Synchro Sound in Boston, and Unique Recording in New York City. The album was produced by Reznor himself, Flood, who has also worked with acts such as U2, Gary Newman, Ministry, and more, John Fryer, who has worked with Depeche Mode, This Mortal Coil, Swans, Cradle of Filth, Him, and more, Keith LeBlanc, and Adrian Sherwood, who is known for remixing tracks for Depeche Mode, Pop Will Eat Itself, Skinny Puppy, and more.
Dang, you really got the influence and the influence's resources.
He wanted something of a dream team of producers for this album, and I don't know how he managed to score them all, but he sure did.
Right.
So let's see here. The band and this album received much attention and critical acclaim from fans and critics alike due to exposure from touring with bands such as Peter Murphy, the Jesus and Mary Chain, Guns N' Roses, and being one of the first inaugural bands at the first Lollapalooza festival in 1991. This album hit number 75 on the Billboard 200 charts, number 67 on the UK albums charts, and it went 3 times platinum in the US, once in Argentina, and certified gold in the UK. The album got a perfect score by our decent and climbing back up their friends at All Music.
Really?
5 out of 5. They nailed it. Wow. And that's why I said the relationship's getting better now. Let's see. You nailed it. Pun. Anyways, a 9.5 out of 10 by Pitchfork, 4.5 out of 5 on the Rolling Stone album guide, 4 out of 5 by Mojo, Q, Rolling Stone, and Sound, and many others, like many other reviews. As of 2020, it sits at number 453 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list, and I know that the Downward Spiral and the Fragile are also on there somewhere. The album officially has 3 singles: Down in It, Head Like a Hole, and Sin. No, not Terrible Lie. Yeah, not right? Terrible Lie. Not Something I Can Never Have. Not Sanctified.
I didn't know Terrible I Wasn't. I've heard that song so many times.
It's definitely like a live staple. Like, it's one of those things where if he doesn't play it live, people riot. That Had Like a Hole, March of the Pigs, Hurt. Like, there are ones you have to play live.
Dang, that's surprising. But I mean, there's been other albums that we reviewed that just the song that I've heard the most or the one that sounds like it'd be a single isn't. And it's just baffling to me. I'm like, this would succeed so well. But then again, maybe not having it as a single kind of makes it feel a little more, I don't know, exclusive, I guess. It's kind of like only the fans know about this one. Yeah,
it's always weird when like the B-sides or whatever happen to catch a lot of traction. You never see that coming, and especially like the studios and labels who push forward singles, and then that one's not as big as this particular track. Probably surprises the hell out of them too.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
So last time we did Nine Inch Nails episode, it was over 2.5 hours long. Oops, sorry. This one's not going to be 2.5 hours long, I promise. So let's get this kicked off now with song number 1, the biggest staple on their fucking live catalog for sure, Head Like a Hole.
The beginning sounds like animals escaping a zoo. I'm not sure if there's sort of like a theme to some of like the industrial sounds, whether it's like, oh, this represents this, or if it's like, oh, this just sounded like a cool sound. But a lot of them I have like imagery with. So if that was the intention, it worked. It really worked.
I mean, maybe, who knows? Like, obviously, this isn't a concept album.
Yeah.
Being Trent's first album, a lot of this album revolves around like love and heartbreak and all that kind of angsty ass stuff. You can definitely hear it in the lyrics. But Headlights a Whole is just about greed and like, I'm not going to conform to you, you know, basic like edgy goth stuff out of the 90s and or late 80s, I guess.
That's true. And going into grunge, it's just like, you can't hold me down, Dad. Yeah, I know what I'm doing, Dad.
Yeah, I guess like Louder Than Love by Soundgarden. That was already out by this point.
Thanks.
Bleach, I think, already came out by this point too. So yeah, like grunge was the seeds were there. So yeah, it was like this was the end of like the gothy nightclub scene and going into the alt rock scene at this point. What a transition.
I do like the sharp snare. It is definitely indicative of the time, very early 90s, late 80s. There are times that I hate it, but when it in this context with the other stuff around it, I think it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it does. It has a like hollow drum sound. This is one of the drum sounds that actually sounds like it could be real. Because like most of the album you can tell you can tell it's a programmed drum. I'm not certain about this one though. I can't be 100% certain because again, I don't think anyone else did instrumentation on this album except for Trent, and he didn't do drums, so I can only assume it's programmed.
Interesting.
But yeah, this song has like a great sense of like building, like right in the beginning with like those percussion samples. I really like it. Super like dark 80s vibe. Gotta love it. I mean, really just working the scene there, especially with some of his influences. Like, you know, like there's like Prince and like not the Cure, that's a bad example, but like Prince and just some of the like, I'm trying to think about like the other like lighter names that I said, but regardless, just it's funny to hear like how you can kind of hear that incorporated into this, but like trying to be a little edgier about it.
Yeah.
Young Trent, it's adorable. The verse seems like a little bare bones with only the synth bass, but I mean it's still catchy though. I mean the synth bass riff is like super catchy. Really like that.
Yeah. I like the explosion into the chorus and how it only serves half the chorus. So it's like if the chorus is a 4, it's there for the first 2. The end 2 are just sort of the same as the verse music wise. And it definitely adds sort of emphasis on that. And I like that because it comes in from it being a little quiet with, like you said, that synth bass there comes in, it's like everything's there and then it sort of dies away. And I like that because even if you weren't paying attention to it, you're gonna go, whoa, what was that? I like that.
And at the very least too, like with the verse being a little quieter, it gives more emphasis on the vocals. And because like majority of people wouldn't have been used to Trent Reznor or Nine Inch Nails or anything by this point, so it's like you get to hear the clarity in his voice, you get to hear him, so you have a good idea of what you're going into. And I like the sound of his young voice. Like obviously I'm more attuned with like, you know, like the 90s and like later Trent Reznor stuff and everything like that. Now he's just like a grizzled old bastard. But yeah, like we're talking about like fresh face, like how old he was, like 23, 24 when he wrote these songs.
Really?
So he was a young lad. I mean, he was born in 65, so
dang, that's like a Kevin Gilbert thing because the album we reviewed for him, he was like mid-20s, but he did a whole bunch of shit before that. So I see a lot of parallels with sort of their story. I'm pretty sure I said this the last Nine Inch Nails episode. So you know what? Just go there. I ain't repeating myself.
Yeah, and by then we hadn't even done the Kevin Gilbert episode, so that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, what's to come? And then we, spoiler alert, found out what's to come.
Fair.
Yeah, but at the very least, Trent Reznor's still alive too, so I'm happy about that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I got into him long after he passed away.
Yeah, you weren't there for like the trauma that was, oh, he just passed like a day ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So I guess we'll just immediately talk about the chorus now, because the chorus is fucking awesome. I mean, like, it is so memorable, so catchy, and it's so hard for me to not want to incorporate the live version of this song into my score. I didn't, by the way, because obviously that wouldn't be fair. But I will say the live version of many of the songs on this album, including How Like a Whole, are like superior in my opinion, especially for some of the things they add or do or change. I think it's great. But like even on the album version too, like this chorus is just so good. The pickup and volume and layers are like, when I say needed, it's not like the verse was like sorely lacking, but it's nice to everything feels fuller all of a sudden, so that's nice. And yeah, the chorus is kind of broken into two portions. You have like the head like a whole portion, then the bow down before you when you serve portion.
Yes, that's it.
I don't know what I would consider that part, so I just considered part of the chorus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, they're both insanely catchy, super cool, super singable. And I mean, this is a hell of an energetic and exciting track to not only start the album, but like quite literally the career. I know this was the second single, but still, like this is this over down in it. People will know what this one is.
Yes. This one did not feel 5 minutes long at all. It was entertaining enough that
I spilled on myself.
Didn't even care that it was 5 minutes. The vocals sound very desperate and genuine, and the harmonizing vocals over the last couple choruses that close out the song sound great, and it's enjoyable. I really like this as an album opener. I think it's fantastic and is definitely a strip club staple.
I guess
I can see it.
I think Terrible Lie would be like Down in It maybe. I'm trying to think of the songs on this album that would be like good strip club music.
But it's like if you watch a movie and then you get these bikers and they're going into a strip club and then they're listening to this because you know that after this that two gangs are going to meet and there's going to be gunfire and all that. That's all I'm picturing. It's like some sort of dingy strip club.
I think the song, which we'll get to later, The Only Time, is probably the better strip club song, especially with the way it starts. I'm drunk right now and I'm so in love with you. Like, and it starts in this like really kind of dirty, sexy way and everything like that. So I think that would just be the better strip club song.
I'm thinking more beat, but my last point, 10 out of 10 danceable and a pair of 6-inch stilettos.
Yeah, I guess you would have a danceable score for at least some of the tracks on this album.
Almost all of them, if not all of them, yes.
You get a 10 out of 10 danceable on something I can never have.
We'll see.
Slowest torque of your life.
Oh my God. You're like, my back hurts. Can I stop, please?
Yeah, even if, when I bend over to pick something up, it hurts. I'm twerking. This is even worse.
God.
To tell you that I was in shape, it would just be a fucking terrible lie. Song number 2, Terrible Lie.
That was a good segue.
Because we're old and it works.
For this one, hashtag steel mill vibes.
True industrial sound, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely just picture, lead pipes just walking around hitting a bunch of stuff. So I like that. I think that's cool. I love the alternating vocals and 2 keyboard notes, pretty much making up the main riff idea. I think that is, I don't know, it kind of adds a musical punctuation to it. And I like that.
It does, yeah. It gives like a good, memorable punch because when Trent's singing, it's like a lot quieter. Obviously, you get these like small synth layers. Obviously, the drums are back there, but even the drums are pretty minimal too. Like kick, snare. Like it's just that's all it is.
Yeah.
The heavy synth hits are really cool too, and occasionally, although you can't really hear it in the album version, but in the live version, it's much more prominent. He says "Hey God," like on the "Hey God," like.
Oh, really?
It's harder to hear on the album version because the live version it's like yelled by the background guys, but in like this one he's just kind of saying it.
Interesting. I didn't even hear that at all.
But yeah, I love the industrial sound layering in the song, like right in the beginning too, just kind of immediately coming out of Head Like a Hole because it transitions over. Even in the minimal verse, it still sounds really cool too. I like that, really, really cool. I love the simplicity of the verses too. Like it doesn't need a whole lot, and I kind of like. I like because the hits are the accents. They work really well. They're close enough together where it's like you're not waiting too long, but it's also not like overwhelming. But yeah, like just the simple vocal and drums match with like those aggressive 2-note hits. Just super cool. Love it.
Speaking of loving things, I love the bleep bloops in this song. They are so computers are new, gray, and weigh 125 pounds. It seems like, oh, this is this new cool thing, and it's just do 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 do, and I'm like, ooh, cool. I like that.
Oh, the magic of synth sequencing.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I love the sound. I did notice, and well, not that I noticed, but end of the song, there's like that little hiccup where the song kind of ends and then picks up in like an 8th note. I like that. It's kind of like you're walking, you kind of trip up a little bit, and then you're walking again.
Yeah,
and it's just that being a purposeful choice is interesting, but it adds some sort of like, oh, did my CD or record skip? And then you go back and you're like, oh no, that's actually in the song.
And it adds a lot more power and emphasis to certain parts too, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like it feels purposeful and not just doing it to be loud or edgy all of a sudden. So I really do like that. And yeah, I guess to kind of tag along with what you were saying about like the bleep bloops, because you hear it a lot in the chorus, obviously, because you have that synth sequence going on and everything like that. It gives it like a lot of character to the sound because everything else is kind of like just droning long in the chorus, aside from Trent singing Terrible Lie, singing the refrain, and he's also doing it like in the same style as the verse too, so you still have those hits in the chorus as well, but now you just got something more going on. So I like the incorporation of that. They blend together really well. It builds into it really well, so it's like a lot of fun. The first thing I thought of though is like, I wonder if this will piss Savannah off, because the only thing you hear in the chorus is Terrible Lie.
It actually doesn't bother me.
Good.
Because it's not like repeated over and over. If you really just say it like once and then you let 2 bars of music go, it's like, okay, it's not that bad. But when it's just, you say the title and then it's the end of that bar and you do it again, and it's just like, okay, like we get it. There's a difference between Terrible Lie, Terrible Lie, Terrible Lie, Terrible Lie. I'm like, okay.
Just Terrible Lie. Terrible Lie.
Yeah,
that's like the ending of Video Killed the Radio Star.
Yeah, I'd be like, please get this away from me. But it having enough time in between, it kind of breathes a little more, and I like that. I found the ending was a little long, but it is an earworm. I'll take it. I either end up humming, mimicking, or whistling the end of the song. And I found
like the noisy synth part and everything like that.
Yeah, like the program stuff. Unless it's
yeah, I love that.
So
I think it's great.
Speaking of that part, 8 out of 10 danceable during the main riff, but during that part, it slides down to a 4 out of 10 as the song closes out.
Oof. I love that industrial tastiness of those synths. It's so good.
Yeah, but how would you dance to that?
Just flailing around and fucking stomping. It's kind of like kind of like throwing down, but not violent at all.
I look forward to watching this demonstration on Ko-fi. Thank you.
My legs don't work anymore. I can't do that shit. Are you kidding me? Too old.
Exactly. That's why it's a 4 out of 10.
No, if my legs worked, I could and I would, but I mean, I'm too old. Like if I think I've injured the rotator on my hip, because if I sit down or stand up awkwardly, I get a huge strain in that part of my hip. So, fuck getting old, okay? Jesus Christ.
Yep,
shit.
You know when you're exercising and they like make you do like bicycles with your legs while you're laying on your back?
Yeah.
I can't do those because both of my hips click. I can't make a full rotation. So I definitely understand the leg problems.
Oh, I actually remember doing those too, where like I had to like ball my hands into to a big fist, put under my tailbone, and like lift my butt in the air and then do the kicks. Because the idea is not to touch the ground when you're doing it. Like your butt can't touch the ground because that's what kind of like activates your core.
Yeah.
Those were tough, but when I first started doing them, and that was back when I could, when I was like in my 20s and all spry and shit.
I never could. I've never been in shape. Yay.
Fantastic. I tried in my 20s. I tried so hard, and I'm kind of trying now, but it's not there.
Yep. Body or brain, whatever. I'll just let it rock.
Self-deprecation. I guess I'm just down in it, huh? I haven't done a lot of puns in a while, so I really got to do as much as I can. You almost destroyed your guitar there.
I almost destroyed the top of my head. Just rolling my eyes back so hard that my head tilted back because of all of these puns.
The weight of your eyeballs really pulled you down. Song number 3, Down in It.
Not that bad. Again, I adore this 80s, early 90s electronic drum sound. I really like the spoken vocals. It feels so intense. But speaking of intensity, the outro of Rain, Rain, Go Away, to me, makes it feel a little less intense.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you why he did. I cannot tell you why he did that.
It seems a little cheesy.
I wonder if he just threw it in as an ad lib and decided to keep it. I don't know. Because overall, like, it's funny because Trent rapping is probably a little controversial amongst Nine Inch Nails fans, but as far as I'm concerned,
Is that what that is? It's rapping?
He's rapping.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
Kind of like a cloud. I was way up in the sky, and I was feeling some feelings you wouldn't believe. Sometimes, anyway,
I actually like that then.
Because this was before like the style of rap that we even knew in like the late 90s, early 2000s and everything like that. Like this was like 80s style rap where it's like everything was just like kind of there on point, you know, like cool. it was just like a really cheap flow, but that was kind of the charm of it. It's like, you know, when we did Beastie Boys.
True.
But yeah, like I don't know, long time fans like myself, we tend to think it's like super charming to hear Trent do his rap, little 24-year-old Trent, and it suited the time too. And again, Public Enemy was one of his influences as well. So I mean, like he definitely enjoyed rap at the time, everything like that. And it would like, as far as I'm concerned, it's like the first and maybe last time he's ever done it, unless you include the song "Where Is Everybody" off of The Fragile, where he kind of does it again, but a lot slower. But regardless, I don't know. There's a lot of charm in it. I like it.
I didn't even think it was rapping, and I like it
Old
either
school.
way. I already liked it. So what sounds like a crowd cheer in the chorus was a good choice. I like that. I don't know if that was sort of the idea or if it was just a sound that I assigned a crowd to. Either way,
it sounds
I like
a
it.
Crowd. I get you.
It's kind of like somebody it's like oh my God. I don't want to bring up Marilyn Manson, but it's one of his videos that he's standing at a podium, and that's what I picture is like Trent standing at a podium singing this. And then you get the whole crowd just cheering at him like he's at a rally.
Well, it's hard to bring up a Nine Inch Nails album without talking about Marilyn Manson at some point, because I mean, those two were interconnected for a good handful of years. Not at this point. I don't even think Brian Warner was doing anything at this point, but I mean, he was on his way at the very least, but still, like, of course that's going to come up. I think I know what you're talking about too. There was a few videos that he did with crowds, but I'm thinking of like Coma White or Black. I can't remember which one it is, but he was essentially JFK and got assassinated in the car.
Ooh, maybe that. I don't know.
But there was tons of crowd around. He did a few things like that. Actually, I think the flow is actually a lot of fun and it really works really well here. So I definitely no hate on his rapping at all, even though it can be a little cheesy, but again, that's where the charm is though. I do enjoy it. It's not so bad. And maybe that's just me being biased because I've heard the song for years and years and years, but I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is. And he's not the world's best rapper. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
3 choruses so far heard on this album, obviously, like with the 3 songs that we've had, and like, damn, they're all so on point, so catchy, so fun. Like, man, I guess that's the benefit. Like, not that he can't do it himself, but the benefit of having all these producers that probably kind of helped him along too. So, like, it's here. Like, the radio playability is here.
Oh, hell yeah. I just 2 more points. Now I just assume, I could be wrong, that you don't watch TikTokers who dance.
Not really. I know there's like lately there's these like 2 metalhead girls that come up and dance some metal songs. That's about it.
Well, I don't know what the timeline for this was, but when I first started watching TikTok before the algorithm kind of really knew me, I'm watching people do like shuffles, I guess, where it's just like a constant beat and you're just like dancing to it. I can totally see somebody doing that to this song just for the constant beat. And I totally would if I could get my legs to work that way. But this song is 10 out of 10 danceable, but for $300 in the back room.
A lot of strip club stuff going on in your head for this one, eh?
For the last
it's a very
songs,
sexy album, isn't it?
It ends quite quickly, but for the last 3 songs, yes.
Oh yeah, this song's is it the shortest? Hold on. Yeah, I think it is. Just barely, but yes it is. 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Second shortest being Sin at 4 minutes and 6 seconds. There you go.
Dang. I didn't realize how long these songs were.
Neither did I. And that's saying a lot considering I've known this album for a long time, but just like, yeah, I listen to the album. I don't count the seconds. I just kind of have it on. So, I mean, like, some songs feel longer than others, but I mean, other than that, I don't really think too deeply into it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move on then. Song number 4, Sanctified.
You know what my first comment is going to be on this.
How sexy, backroom dancing, something, 10 out of 10.
No, it's just capital letters bass with multiple S's.
Oh, yes, the terrible MIDI bass. Gotcha.
I love it. Oh, I love it. It's fantastic.
I've never
I love how snappy it is. It's so snappy. I love it. Oh yeah, I love it.
I don't know. It's like I have a problem with certain synth sounds, and it's because some sounds don't age well. Like I can deal with
this one aged terribly.
Like obviously, like there are 80 sounds I can deal with, and they're fine. Like it's definitely of its time. But then there are things that just don't age well. Like the choir sound in the beginning of this, that's
very Depeche Mode-y.
And then the absolutely terrible MIDI bass. Terrible MIDI. Anyways, that was a bad joke. It was a terrible lie joke. Anyways, regardless, neither of them aged. That's
you needed you needed to explain that to me, and then I played it in my head and went, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I didn't even set that up properly anyway, so that's probably why I felt the need to explain it. Regardless, bad choices. Maybe some Nine Inch Nails fans feel that there's like some charm with it, I guess, kind of like with Trent rapping.
Yeah.
But again, with how badly these sounds have aged, like it's hard for me to like truly enjoy this song. I'm trying to think, yeah, it's the 80s, just let it be. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. There's only so much I can let go.
I like it. Yeah, there's just something about that sort of era of time, I guess, and just their really shitty instrument sounds. But now it's like pretty much anything that came. I can't even explain. There's just like this time period of all of these really shitty adult alternative soft rock songs that just sound so early 90s. And it's like you listen to them, you're like, this sucks. But then you retreat by yourself, you put them on going, I love this. This is awesome. They're so guilty pleasures. I love it so much.
Okay, I don't want you to take any time to think about this. Just say the first thing that comes off the top of your head when I say something, okay? When I say soft alt 90s rock, what's the first thing that comes to your head right now?
Amy Grant, and I don't know why.
Okay, well then that's fine because you just mentioned that and you're like, oh, like all this stuff comes up, and the first thing that popped into my head was Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls, even though it's not technically early 90s.
Yeah,
that's the first
98.
thing. That's the first thing that comes to my head though, so I don't know.
If it had like snappy synth bass, then yes.
Yeah, except if that song had this bass line, oh my god.
Oh my god, I wouldn't skip it every time I listen to that album.
So you've already referenced a couple times in this album about like strip clubs and sexy times and everything like that. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about sexy times, Trent is thirsty in this song. My boy needs it. Especially that line when he says, if she says, come inside, I'll come inside for her. Boy, I'm blushing over here.
Yep.
Because like, it's kind of jarring to hear considering the album really hasn't given you that up to this point. So it's just like, dude, we went from like rapping about what, oh, by the way, I got to tell the Down In It story. So I'll do that in a second. We went from, rapping about whatever and Down In It, terrible lie about being angry at God, had like a whole, like, you're greedy and I won't conform to you. Now I want to fuck you really bad. Like, dude, where is this album going? Like, I get it's not a concept album, but still.
Oh no, I think there's a concept.
For most songs from here on out are like about love, essentially.
Yeah, you got to get the anger out of the way, and now he's healed. He's a different man. Let him back in.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert, he kind of sinks from here on out, and that doesn't get better until the 2000s, like mental health wise.
Yikes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to Down In It for a second because I wanted to tell the story. And Nine Inch Nails fans, chances are you already know this one, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna tell the Down In It music video story. To those of you like Savannah who don't know the story, let me kind of briefly run this by real quick. So Down In It was the first single by Nine Inch Nails, and they wanted to make a music video, but they had like zero budget to do it. They couldn't do anything. So a lot of it was just like shot with a really cheap camera. They didn't really have any actors or anything. It's just like, it's essentially Trent being chased through Cleveland by like two dudes in black suits. And it's like really choppy frame rate. It looks weird and like stylistic in a way. Well, at the end of the video, he essentially jumps off a building and kills himself because he doesn't want to be caught by these two guys.
Yeah.
And they wanted one shot of Trent laying on the ground and the camera panning upward, like to kind of like zoom out, show him dead, and just like, well, that's the end of that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There was no good way of doing it from the angle. So what they did was they tied the camera to a couple of helium balloons to get the up thing. They didn't have a plan to get it back down.
Oh, Jesus.
So the camera goes up,
Oh, yeah. Like a
flies away.
surveillance thing.
probably gets caught on the jet stream, flies the fuck away. And they're just like, oh shit, well, we just lost that footage. Oh, well. So they were initially going to scrap the idea for the video. It's like, we lost the camera and that had our footage on it. The camera was found in a farmer.
Nobody tied a string to this.
Apparently they didn't. Yeah, as I said, they didn't really plan it out
Kites
properly.
existed, guys.
Yeah, but they're all amateurs at this point. They had like no production budget or crew or anything. It's just like people just wanted to get the shots done quickly because again, they couldn't close off streets. They had to get the shots done and get the fuck out. So
fair.
If you happen to get an empty sidewalk at one point, you shoot for that 5 seconds you have. Anyways, camera found in a farmer's field a little far away from Cleveland. I can't remember exactly where. The farmer of that field, I believe, finds the camera. This is where
and it's just a.
Yeah. So this is where details get a little fuzzy. So please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But regardless, farmer finds the camera. It's like, oh, this is weird. What is this? Watches the footage. Sees a dead guy on there. So he calls the police. The police look at it. Open up an investigation. The FBI gets contacted, and they need to find out where, because you just see this video footage of a guy running from people, and then he's dead. So I can't remember the details beyond this, but like obviously, like they found out who it was, trace it back. They're like, oh no, I'm very much still alive. It's fine, whatever. But this also made news at the time too. Like it was actually like on TV about it. It's like the FBI investigation, blah blah blah, and. But then it was just like a whole crazy thing that like the FBI had to get involved because they lost a camera on a balloon.
So was this on TV after it had all been over, or was it like we are actively looking for these people? This was found, and it was like the investigation was on TV.
I want to say that this was after the music video came out. Maybe this was just kind of a piece to air. I could be wrong. I can't remember the exact sequence of events at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, just. God, there's egg on your face right there. Because I mean, like, yeah, because then you're face down with the FBI. It's like, we're looking for this man. Oh, that dead guy. Yeah, it's me.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. This is what we did. This is where we did it. And they're like, yeah, you're still arrested. Oh no.
Well, he wasn't arrested. Everything, like once they found out it was just like an amateur shoot, they're just like, okay, well, just be careful next time because this could lead to much worse scenarios.
Right? Holy shit. I don't think they'd give him that much leeway these days.
This farmer thought he found a fucking snuff video. I mean, like, Jesus, imagine that, eh?
Oh my God. I guess that's a good way to get rid of it, is just sort of put it on a balloon and just let the wind take it away, and it's no longer your problem.
Something along the lines of that, I guess. But then, I mean, at the same time, if like your fingerprints are found on anything, you're done.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Burn them off.
So that's the Down In It story. I should have told that during Down In It. I apologize. So let's get back to Sanctified now. Yes. And I was talking about Trent being thirsty because, man, like that first introduction of Trent really wanting it. So there you go, buddy. The song is kind of strange to me, especially with like the jarring moments of like sudden synth screeching in the chorus. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an interesting addition, but it does feel pretty out of place. Like this feels a little more forced than other things I've heard so far. So I don't know. It's never really sat too well with me.
The chorus, I found that it didn't really do anything. I cannot elaborate. That's literally all I wrote. There's something about ending, and this isn't just in this, it's just in general for me at least. There's something about ending a line with a hard R that sounds weird, like ending the line with her. It doesn't sound pleasing because it's so jarring to hear. And motherfucker rhymed her with her. Come on.
Sure did.
Come on. You missed the chance to say fur somewhere.
That's my mid-90s Trent right there. Well, I mean, with how thirsty the song is, if you wanted to use the rhyme fur, he could have fit that in perfectly.
Exactly.
On inside your fur. Like something like that. You could have done it.
The way that it sounds, like with the hard R at the end, it's just, I hate it.
First off, can we acknowledge that in 2023, hard R means something completely different now?
Well, yeah, but how else
Trent
am I supposed
Reznor was
to say
not
that?
using hard R's in this album. I promise you.
He was using an emphasized last letter of a word.
It was her. That was the word. It
was her.
I just love the context of it now. Just like hard R. He was using a hard R. It's like, no, he wasn't.
Yes. And don't rhyme her with her. I hated that. It made me cringe. Bass is really carrying the score here. I found the song was a little long for a track that doesn't really change up musically too much. I think this is a 2 out of 10 danceable, maybe interpretive dance.
I'm going to tag on to that last one you said about how long it is, because I said that this did not need to be nearly 6 minutes long. It's 5 minutes and 48 seconds, by the way. It's not as exciting. Would you say 3:48?
I said 3:40 and we're done.
I thought you were like, no, the song's 3:48.
Oh God, no.
That's not true. It should be, but it's not true. Yeah, it's not as exciting as the other tracks, and it doesn't really do too much other than like what you're given in the first minute. Not really a lot noteworthy. So yeah, I don't know, just one of the weaker entries. And even on like going back to like the live show, because I've seen them like live 8 times by this point. I saw them play Sanctified for the first and last time when I saw them in 2013 or 2014 on the Tension tour, and they changed up quite a bit and modernized it, but it was still very like electronic and everything like that. Mm-hmm. It was a little more fun, but even then it still wasn't all that great. I don't know. This has always been a weaker entry in their catalog in my eyes.
It was the hard R is what it was.
Yeah, maybe Trent shouldn't be using hard R's.
Maybe I should stop saying that as well.
Yeah, you're going to get sued for like libel or something like that. Or slander,
fine.
I guess.
Context. Pay attention to the context.
I'm also assuming it'd be libel too, because I'm assuming that's in your notes, so it is written. So there you go.
Yes. Fair.
All right, let's move on. The halfway point of the album, song number 5, The Big Ballad, Something I Can Never Have.
Seems like this was his first foray into film scores, because it sounds like a slasher flick theme.
This does?
This
slasher
one does.
Flick?
Oh yeah, it's just like the constant like keyboards. It kind of reminds me of what is it? The theme to Halloween. Kind of gives me that vibe. It gives me like eerie, creepy vibes.
I guess I never really thought of it that way. Like I see where you're coming from when you compare it to Halloween, but did you know that Trent actually redid the Halloween theme? By the way,
I can see that now.
John Carpenter got him to do it for like it was an anniversary remake on the vinyl, and him and Atticus Ross kind of like repurposed it.
Interesting.
That's really cool. It still sounds more or less the same, but it's got like the Nine Inch Nails touch to it. So there you go. There's your comparison right there.
Perfect. I wasn't too far off.
But still, I don't really see that myself. I just think it's like an iconic gothy ballad.
Yeah, well, of course you wouldn't see it. You have to listen to it.
Okay, anyways. Just wavering voice at the end. I'm done. I'm tired.
Headphones on the table.
I would want to call it an underrated like staple in the catalog, but I mean that would be for outsiders looking in, because like fans love this track. It is very iconic in the entire discography. And there's even a version on they have an album called Still, which is like half like piano and acoustic renditions of certain songs, and then half like sad instrumental tracks, essentially. Yes. It was made in a very dark period of Trent's life, let's say that much. And they had this Something I Can Never Have on there, played through just like Trent on piano in like this big room. And it's probably the best version of the song that exists, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And actually, a lot of people probably agree with that too. But the idea was like, it has to come from somewhere, and it came from this, and people love this song. So it's iconic. I always think it's underrated, but it's not.
I don't know. This one was okay. I found it boring. When he said the word fucking for the first time, it sounded so forced, and that he wanted to be edgy. Or no, he said it to be edgy, not because he felt it in his soul. It's just like, it's instead of fuck you, mom, it's go fuck yourself, mother. It's like, okay, like you didn't have to. Like I understood before you said it. That was weird. I felt it was too long, and it was signaling the middle of the album, because I'm just guessing that the first song on side 2 is going to be a burst of energy, because
more or less, yeah.
That I feel there's no other place than for this to lead out of the first side into the next side, because if this was what started side 2, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna just stick with side 1, thank you.
I will say, like, yeah, this is a quiet ballad in the middle of the album, and it's more or less the only ballad there is.
Yeah.
but the intensity of each track was like lessening to the point where we kind of reached this almost naturally. So I kind of do like that progression and how we got here at the very least. I really like the industrial sounds on the chorus. Like that. I thought that's a really cool addition. Like, I love what they add, and they're not like super abrasive. It's like it's a fitting percussion, since like anything else would be way too jarring at this point, especially with how quiet the vast majority of the song is. And I don't know if you noticed. Did you notice the quiet layer of birds tweeting in the background?
I think I did, but I also listened to this with headphones with my window open, so I could have mistaken it.
Very easy to do.
Actually outside.
Somehow the birds tweeting are very iconic to longtime fans, and I don't know why. But it's
will just latch on to anything, eh?
I guess so. We're just desperate for Trent's music, I guess. That's how it
Feed
works.
me, daddy, please.
Daddy Trent, daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm the only person who have ever said that. The birds tweeting just kind of gave me this imagery. I haven't really talked about a lot of imagery yet in this album, but this one gave me an imagery of like someone locked away in their room reminiscing about a love that they can't have. It's kind of like a high school poet vibe though, but still. I mean, we just did the Birthday Massacre and I was talking about like high school poetry in that one. Well, I mean, this song has it written all over it.
So this is Taylor Swift's You Belong With Me then?
Literally anything in her fucking discography.
I do mention that later on. No dancing to this one. Comatose.
No, this is the one where it says it's gonna be the really slow twerk.
No dancing. Comatose. In the hospital, put in a coma, medically induced, won't come out for 6 months. And then starts panicking because there's a new president and gay marriage is legal everywhere.
People are gonna think that you're homophobic for saying that because it made you panic.
No. I just imagine what it's like for people in a coma to wake up after 6 months and everything in their world is completely changed. That's probably going to make them panic a little.
Oh, AI will be like way better in 6 months. Right? And I mean, like, we might not even be here in 6 months.
Your nurse is going to be an iPad on a Segway.
It's like those restaurants in like Japan where it's like the robotic ones that and they have like the cute little electronic faces and they come to your table slowly and they just open their doors and your plate is there ready to go and stuff like that.
Like WALL-E. I've never seen those before.
I've never seen WALL-E. I know what you're talking about. I've just never seen it.
I don't know. It's a robot.
He just always looks like a sad, pathetic robot because they designed him with his eyes arching all sad and stuff. Just like, fuck off.
Yeah,
You're trying to tug my heartstrings on purpose. You're not even like naturally progressing me into it.
Yeah, I cried at the end.
Like everyone I know cried at the end.
Yep.
But I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I shed tears for the rescuers, and that's it. Anyways, that's all I got to say about something I can never have.
Likewise.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, there was a pause right there. I had to talk about Daddy Trent's Milkies. Anyway, song number 6, Kinda I Want To. Speaking of Daddy Trent's Milkies, I'm pretty sure a lot of goth chicks in the 80s and 90s said that.
Wow. Okay. Oh my God. I just cannot get over that. So they really front loaded this album with the bangers. The song's okay, I guess. I mean, it kind of sounds like a callback to Down in It, at least some parts of it for sure. Now I think there's a real guitar in this. At this point, it kind of sounds a little out of place.
Really?
Personally. Yeah. I don't know. It was maybe I didn't hear while it was amping up, but it just seemed like it was just kind of put there. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
There's been guitar in almost every song so far, though.
Yeah, I haven't noticed.
Well, then
it wasn't very like, I don't know, prominent like this one.
Strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, the song is kind of like a small amalgamation of like had like a hole and Down in It, but like I do like how it brings the energy back from the previous track because again we're on side B now, so I mean
they have to.
And I thought it works. I've always really enjoyed the song. One thing I also like too is like the panning synth drum in the verses too, going from like left to right in the ear because like every like few like bar or two it like switches up. I like how it's not like too hard on the ears and just kind of like works to add intrigue to the song, so it's always cool. I think the chorus goes pretty hard considering what this album has given us. And like, I know it had like a hole and like Terrible Lie had like those big stabbing points, but like I don't know. The synth is always really cool because it is mainly synth driven too, so it's perfect. And funny enough, not funny enough, but I should say fun fact: the main riff in the chorus, like the synth riff, is what got me to want to buy a synthesizer in the first place.
Really?
I just loved the tone of it. I loved the riff, and I was just like, "That's so cool! I want a keyboard." And I'm not talking about one of those Yamaha Radio Shack keyboards. I'm talking about like an actual synthesizer, like a good one. I had one of those too. Okay, don't worry about it.
I know, but I still do, and it's the only one I have.
I pointed it before, but behind me I got the Core Triton LE, which a lot of big bands have actually used this in the past too. And so like this is the first one I got like over a decade ago, and to this day still have never learned how to play the chorus on the synth.
Oh my God!
But I've made my own cool music, so there's that, I guess.
Whatever gets it out there, I suppose. I don't know. I feel like for me, I really like the beginning of the album. I feel like I'm kind of in a lull, and just looking at your face while saying it is so different than me just shooting my mouth off while I'm doing a review. But when I have to explain why I don't like something to someone who likes it, all I want to say is, no, it was great. Well, that's it.
To be fair,
hard.
Well, to be fair, two things. First off, maybe that face came up because like I do really like this song.
Yeah.
But second, and I can reference this because it was my own damn video. I did make a video on my own personal channel like a long time ago of me ranking every Nine Inch Nails album, and Pretty Hate Machine was one of the lower ones ranked.
Yeah.
Personally, there's nothing critical about that though. That was just like my own preference at the time.
Yeah.
So like if you don't like the second half of this album, if you don't like this album altogether, the thing is like I get it.
Yeah.
I mainly chose this album because like I know that you like the 80s sounds of things.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, Nine Inch Nails has an album that has 80s sounds, so like let's just see how they combine for you. Do I think this will rank anywhere near Year Zero? Absolutely not. Like not even close.
That album had far too many songs that it couldn't have failed, because if one failed, the other one pulled it up. So I mean, the odds were in their favor. And for this one, despite owning it on CD a long, long time ago, I don't think I made it past track 4, and I would just repeat the beginning of the album. So any of these later songs, this is my first time hearing them. So maybe they just haven't grown on me. But now that I have sort of buffered all of that, this song feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be. I feel like it kind of switches a bunch, and because it kind of sounds like a couple other songs on the album, and it's not just, oh, this coincidentally sounds like it sounds like it's purposeful, where it's like a purposeful callback, which is cool. I just feel like there's lots of sounds. Ooh, and just because you're at a buffet doesn't mean you should eat everything all at once.
But that hasn't stopped me in the past.
Fair. They've kicked you out, and it's still all you can eat.
Yeah, the Homer Simpson all you can eat debacle.
Right. My last point: 3 out of 10 danceable. Really, just shifting weight from one leg to the other to the beat.
Really, this one should be way the fuck up there for danceable score.
Yeah, but it depends.
This song got me moving.
Depends how you dance. I mean, like sometimes you're just swaying back and forth, and then other times you're dancing in the back room in 6-inch stilettos. Yeah,
this one to me would be like I did like the Elaine Bennis, but like with an actual real rhythm to it though, like on point
like
and beat.
Skanking,
kind of, but I'm not like kicking.
I don't dance like that. I dance like a real human being. So 3
I don't dance at all, so there you go.
You're like, hypothetically, if I did, I would.
I would just be a b-boy if I could dance. You kidding me?
I'm terrible at dancing, but I do it because it makes my soul feel good. And I have all this pent up energy that if I don't, I will scream.
Fair enough. Dance then. Why not, right?
Just don't scream here.
I was going to say, you've been with your partner long enough now where if you just started screaming for no reason, they'd just be like, oh, it's that kind of day, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. Anytime he shows, he's like, oh, I'm so tired and I have an abundance of energy. I try and give him my energy by yelling at him.
Take it.
Exactly.
Just being weird and spontaneous and just like, okay, I gotcha. Anyways, I'm going to get up and make dinner a bit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make toast for dinner. I will say, yeah, like kind of like calling back to the whole idea that like this kind of sounds like Head Like a Hole and Down in It. The bridge is really fun, not entirely fitting in the track, but I don't mind it. It doesn't exactly fit the mood of the track though, so it is a little weird when it comes in. I like how messy the synth gets like later in the choruses though. I will say that I think it like adds some really nice intensity without like going overboard on the other instruments. So I don't know. I find it like a lot of I like about the song. The lyrics are kind of tacky because I mean we're talking about a guy who like wants to cheat on his girlfriend with this other girl, and I love how if you put this into a story so far, let's start with Sanctify because that was the first real love song. It was like I will ruin my life for you. Something I can never have is like, oh, that was just a dream. It's something I can never have. This one's like I got the girl, but now I'm gonna cheat on her.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of this is biographical for him. I really don't know. So I don't know what young Trent was like in love.
Instead of I will ruin my life for you, it's I will ruin your life for me.
You can ruin your own life in the process too. Cheating can hurt both parties.
Oh yeah. But if you're setting out to do it, then your whole point is to hurt the other person. And then if you're hurt, it comes along later. It's definitely not immediate, especially if it's a choice.
They weren't supposed to find out. It wasn't supposed to hurt them. Okay, if that's your excuse, okay.
Yeah, right. So
if that's how you sleep at night, why not?
Exactly.
Song number 7, Sin.
Okay, so two points at the beginning here. There is something about his voice dropping an octave or two for the last syllable of a line that just makes my skin crawl. I don't know. It makes me feel uneasy. And I don't know if it's just this song or in general, but if you're singing and then the last song is lower and I'm like, oh, I don't like that because I'm so used to it going higher up and having like an upspeak, but someone who has like a down tone, it's just like, it feels weird. It feels, I don't know, it's uncomfortable.
Again, I never thought about it that way, but I know what you're talking about. Your need for me has been replaced.
It's so weird. Oh, it's so weird. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know.
To be fair, in his older years, he's more of a baritone singer now.
Yeah.
The actual title track of With Teeth. Yes. He hits a note so fucking low. I've tried, but like obviously you can hear me talk. I have a natural like more higher ranged voice.
Yeah.
It's like a low D. I can't. It's down here somewhere.
You do it and then you start coughing.
It's this that tone, but an octave lower. I can't do it. But then lower than that.
He's training his voice over the years. I like it.
Well, he also just got older. He had drug and alcohol problems, so it'll do that.
Does he smoke?
He doesn't smoke. I don't know if he ever smoked either. Like he was just always a drug and drinker, but he probably smoked.
Yeah, because that'll definitely change it over the decades and just sort of give you that rasp that some people try and replicate that you can only get from those Marlboro Reds. I can never say that word.
Well, considering some of the people that he's toured with in the past, he's probably been exposed to a lot of that stuff. I mean, like, fucking one of the, I can't remember the guy's name, but the lead singer in Ministry, like, that was one of his, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's one of his like mentors, and like that dude sounds like he hasn't stopped smoking since he was in the uterus. I mean,
like Lemmy. Ugh.
Oh, that was a lot of whiskey. That was mainly like he smoked, but I guarantee that was a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, burns his taste buds or whatever, vocal cords. Anyways, point is, let's get back to the song. Now, again, I go through this all the time. We don't do lyrical analysis, but you did mention earlier in this review some juvenile lyrics. I think that's coming up, but I do have a line here that I disagree with. I gave you my purity and my purity you stole. You gaslighting bitch. I gave it to you. You gave it to me. Don't tell me I stole it. That will not hold up in the court of law.
Yeah, trust me, I've always recognized those lyrics now. I always snicker a little bit because I'm just like... Yeah, really?
I had to go back and listen to it and go, no, that's exactly what he said. What the fuck is that?
Well, and I've always tried to interpret in my head too. I'm like, maybe he fell out of love with this person. Maybe he wasn't meant to be in love with this person. Like, I'm trying to think of like what he was getting at. Like, it could maybe be like a hookup. Whereas it's like, I wanted to love you, but it was like literally just a hookup. Like, I don't know. I could be. I honestly don't know.
And then it's like he's questioning. He's like, "Yeah, it just fit the rhyming scheme." I'm like, "God damn it!"
But like other lyrics, like it comes down to this: your kiss, your fist. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah, weird.
And your straining gets under my skin. Within, take in the extent of my sin. So now you're taking in my sin. You stole my purity. Now I'm giving you my sin. Like, what is this toxic relationship happening here?
I'm just imagining, and I imagine this is in a movie, where they're like standing face to face, and the other person is just like, take in my sin. Yeah. So the other person is standing there like facing them, and all of everything inside of Trent is coming out of his mouth and into the other one, kind of like some sort of horror movie, but their mouths, like, they unhinge.
Well, let me jump to a point I have that could kind of resemble that, actually, because I would talk about the synth bridge in the middle of the song, where it's like almost everything disappears except for like this kind of like like synth line. It sounds like something out of Mortal Kombat.
It sounds like circus music.
I thought it sounded like something on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, so I can imagine like Shao Kahn or something like that, or Shang Tsung, like literally holding you and sucking the soul out of your body.
Yeah,
and
there
then
you go.
so as you see him go, like just like that, you're it just works.
Except they're not sucking it out. The person is a unwilling participant and getting it. So they're like, no, and then it's just like, yeah, ugh.
Yeah,
he should write a horror movie. Has he scored a horror movie?
No, he's done like thrillers in a way. Like he did like Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Bird Box, stuff like that.
You should do like a slasher flick.
Well, he redid the intro for Halloween, so I mean that's something.
Yeah.
He's won many awards for his scoring. So tell David Fincher to make a horror movie, because he literally only works with David Fincher anymore.
Good. I will send him a strongly worded letter.
I love David Fincher, so I would like to see him do a horror movie.
Good. I've just heard that guy's name first time right now. So
he did the movie for like Fight Club, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Social Network.
Never seen it.
Alien 3, 7.
Never, maybe.
With Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. What's in the box? What's in the box?
No, maybe. Probably not, though.
Damn.
I always get 7 mixed up with 21, and I think 21's about poker. No, not poker. Blackjack, but they're in a casino. I don't remember.
I mean, probably, because that is very much a blackjack thing, 21.
Yep.
I will say this is the danciest number on the album. Fun synth and drum combo through the verses. It really drives it home. I know you're going to give it your own danceable score.
Yeah.
This is the best chorus on the album, aside from Head Like a Hole, for sure. It's like infinitely singable and catchy, so you got to give it that much at the very least. Like this one's like a lot of fun. Very typical structure in this track too, because again, it's another short one, 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Short in the sense of the rest of the album, because 4 minutes and 6 seconds can be long to some bands. But this has a very radio-friendly vibe to it, minus the lyrics. So I love the intensity of the last chorus too. There's some fun things happening in this song, so I really don't mind it all that much.
So you mentioning the chorus, at no point did I mention that I hated it, so I can assume that I liked it. There are parts of this entire song that bring me back, like Head Like a Hole. Might be just like the last one, where it just kind of has similar chord structures, or maybe it's sort of like a little callback type thing. I like the music. It's very new wavy. Thumbs up for that. And my danceable score is 6 out of 10. If you dance in the way that used to scare older generations. So it might be like that Elaine dance, but kind of mixed with that. Have you seen Wednesday on Netflix?
No, but I've seen the dance everyone references. Yes.
Okay. That.
Hey, it's Kris doing some editing. Just letting you know that we cut out a large chunk of video and audio at this point because it was just another tangent. It'll likely be available on Ko-fi. I'm only bringing this up because the context going into the next portion makes no sense at all, and there's no proper way to cut back in. So I thought I'd just throw that in there to avoid any confusion. Okay, back to the show. Alrighty then, let's move on to song. Why is that gross? I don't know. I was shocked, not that kind of shocked.
Sounded like you were panting and then said old man, so I just said gross. That was all.
Old Daddy Trent, turning 50. By the way, when this episode comes out, Trent turns 58 on May 17th. Happy birthday, old man.
Happy birthday. If you ever listen to this, probably not. And then we get a letter from his lawyers.
Don't ever talk about Nine Inch Nails on the show again.
Don't ever state my age ever again.
The very public age.
Is it fine, the episode? Yeah, I didn't listen to it, but don't ever state my age.
Don't do it in public on your own either. You're not allowed to. Fuck.
Ridiculous.
Get a lawsuit against him for loving you all this time. Jesus Christ, that's what I get, huh? Anyway, song number 8, That's What I Get.
Oh, Lord. Okay, it was funny because when you were reading the influences and the bands and artists that the producers were working with, but you kept saying Depeche Mode, and knowing that there were a couple songs on here that I'm like, this has, likenesses. This is a very Depeche Mode-like intro. It caught my attention right away. I feel like at this point, I kind of want more music and less vocals. Some of the vocals I feel just cover the music, and it's like you can take a breath and leave a little bit of space. And knowing, like, having listened to some Nine Inch Nails like 20 years from when this was released, he definitely got it down. It is much better when it comes to like
it's the debut composition. Album.
Yeah, but like there are some albums, their debut, it's like, oh, this wasn't that good, and then every album after that, AC/DC. Fuck them.
Yeah, but that was the Bon Scott days, and those were the better days. Hot take. Brian Johnson sucks. Hot take.
No, that is not a hot. In this show, that is a legit hard, concrete take. I will never fight you on that. I do not like AC/DC at all. But I kind like, that he's really sort of worked on the composition of the songs and whatnot through the decades, through the years. And listening to this is kind of like, it definitely seems very first album, seemed kind of demo-y. And I do just want to listen to more music. I know I can find it, but that's how I felt as soon as I heard this. I was like, yeah, I just don't want him singing.
You're not going to listen to another Nine Inch Nails album unless we review it on the show. I can almost guarantee it.
I might listen to With Teeth on my own, because I know I've heard it before.
Hey, that's the album that got me into Nine Inch Nails in the first place.
That was the one that I saw only on Much Loud, and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Then I branched out from that one song.
Do you want to take a wild stab at who directed the music video? David Fincher.
I was gonna say I will have no idea. I really liked that, like the pin thing. I thought that was really cool.
It's an interesting concept, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
But yeah,
I didn't like this.
And again, this is the debut album, so yeah, like obviously he needs to find his footing, and I would say that for any band. I'm not going to give Nine Inch Nails the pass just because I love them, because like obviously I have my issues with Pretty Hate Machine. This song in particular too. I mean, like obviously not super fantastic. The vocals sound desperate, but not in that good emotional way that you can kind of like connect yourself to. Like this just sounds like a whiny little dude, just like, you took away my self-confidence, you.
Okay. So I wrote this for a different song, and I'm not going to tell you which one because I decided not to read it. But with you saying that, I'm going to read it verbatim because it definitely explains what you just said. Vocals are nasally and whiny, less aggressive than the last one, and more mopey and pathetic.
Yeah, this one's a little, it's a little out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pulled back a lot of the energy, and so that felt a little weird to me. There was solid tracking up to this point too, but this one kind of pulled back on it. The instrumentals leave a lot to be desired, which can definitely be said for the chorus as well too. Like, I don't know, the chorus felt so minimal until the end of the song, which is unfortunate because the second chorus picked up like a bit of the intensity from the minimal verse, and like that makes sense to do. But then the final chorus is kind of what I was looking for, especially with the inclusion of drums, but then it was too little too late by that point, which again, bands have done this a lot where it's just like, the first chorus maybe not so intense, then it picks up, but you do it in like better increments and add more and more to the point where like it feels full and complete. This is his debut album, so of course he's not going to know that entirely yet, so you learn lessons, and spoiler alert, look at the rest of his fucking career.
He did.
I mean, literally 5 years from now would be the like one of the most, not only the most seminal Nine Inch Nails albums, but like one of the most important albums of the 90s or music history.
Yeah.
We will have to do that one day. I will say that much. But for now, we got to do the debut.
That is the Downward Spiral, right?
That is 100% the Downward Spiral.
Yeah,
the Fragile is still pretty important. That came in 99, though.
This one and Downward Spiral are the ones that I hear talked about the most when it comes to influence. I think this one, because it was sort of innovative and it was the first. The second one, for all of the reasons you've already stated.
Oh my God. Like there's... we're gonna have to do the Spiral because there's a lot to unpack there. That's gonna be another 2.5 hour episode.
Oh Lord, that's
but
okay.
It's such a good album. Oh my God, that is solid S tier album. Anyways, though, that's just that until we end up doing that. Yeah, I mean, there's not too much more for me to say about the song other than like it feels pretty empty and unfinished. So you're right about the whole demo vibe of things. And again, a lot of these songs were reworked from the demo of Purest Feeling. So I feel like not a whole lot changed between the demo and the album release. I still think they front loaded the album. I can definitely and confidently say that. Welcome to the 80s.
If this song was a food, it would be crustless white bread. And the lyrics, quote, "Why's it come as a surprise to think that I was so naive? Maybe didn't mean that much, but it meant everything to me," is such a Taylor Swift line. My God, if any line could scream white girl teen diary, it's this.
Maybe she grew up and she was a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. We don't know.
That would be sweet.
Was she not born in 89? Doesn't she have an album called 1989?
She does, yes.
Well, there you go, and that's why she called it this. So who knows? Maybe as a kid, like she fucking grabbed a copy of the Downward Spiral. I really like this for some reason. And then she heard Pretty Hate Me. She's like, oh my God, relatable. Hashtag relatable before hashtags were a thing.
Yeah. But that doesn't explain why the bullshit's on this album.
Well, she had to get it from somewhere.
Yeah. I don't care what she wrote. She is a white teen girl, or was at the time. But just these lyrics suck.
No, I agree. Like
it's just straight up suck.
Like, so the next project to follow this was an EP called Broken, which is it's fantastic. It's super. It's so much heavier, angrier, and louder. So one thing I didn't mention was very quickly after getting signed to TVT and doing this album, he got into arguments with the label because they essentially wanted Pretty Hate Machine Part 2. But he was kind of like growing out of that sound a little bit. He's like, no, I got these ideas. Like, no, you're gonna do had a whole Part 2. So secretly behind their backs, he rents out a studio and fucking records Broken, which is just fucking blistering anger in that fucking album, which is where one of the most like cult classic favorite Nine Inch Nails songs come from, which is Happiness and Slavery, probably the angriest song they have in their catalog. And like it is night and day difference. I think Broken came out in 92, so like 3 years after this album comes out, like the fucking like loudest, angriest project comes out, just like
probably drugs.
Holy fuck, that's where that comes from. And then immediately following that, the Downward Spiral. So that's where he finally got his freedom because he was no longer with TVT. So he just like, I'm gonna do whatever. He starts his own label, Nothing Records. But he still works through Interscope though. But they gave him creative freedom. So it goes to show you that TVT kind of nearly fucked Trent's career. Until Interscope's like, yeah, just do what you want. It's fine.
I really hope that this little record label of his takes off. And I hope that he has a nice, fruitful career in the future. He sounds like a good young man. Well,
he did sign a young musician by the name of Brian Warner, which apparently he went on to do some pretty big things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who else was on Nothing Records. Like it was a very minor thing. Like it wasn't meant to be a major label. He kind of just did that to have his own moniker. I don't really. Now he has his own. Like it's no longer Nothing Records. It's like the Null Corporation now, which is mainly just for him to release albums under. So I don't know.
Yeah, a little more freedom, right?
Yeah, because he's not even with Interscope anymore. So that's another thing too.
Cool.
All right, let's move on then. Number 9, The Only Time.
Okay, finally, him saying "fuck" here sounds so much more natural. It doesn't
wants the devil to fuck him in the back of his car.
Yeah, like you can tell he means it. It comes from his soul. That first one sucked. This one, good. I like this. The music is odd, but interesting. I don't know how else to describe it other than it was just sort of, it wasn't off-putting. It was just kind of like I was spending more time listening to the music than I was anything else, sort of that base layer. And then I had to go in and listen to all the layers, but the first, it just sort of caught me.
Yeah, especially with the chorus, because there's a lot going on. Like this is one of the more experimental tracks I feel on this album when it comes to composition. Just because, yeah, it does feel strange, but I do like it. And I will also say too, yes, that weird pop slap bass comes back into this from Sanctified, but as compared to Sanctified, I like this one better. It fits much better in this one. It definitely has a sexier vibe to it, so it fits what's going on in this one. So I like that. The Tame verse was a little worrying, coming off like the bare bones of like the last track, but then the chorus of this song again just kind of livens everything up. So I think that's really cool.
I would like to hear this without vocals, not because I didn't like them, but because I liked the music. Good thing they placed this song at the end. I was starting to lose hope, so my happiness rose a little bit more here. The end of this song sounds like a child's toy that's losing battery power. Felt a little bit long, but it was interesting enough that I stuck with it for the entire time.
It's just funny that you mentioned the vocals, and I know that you said not that you didn't like them in this song.
Yeah.
I actually really like the vocal performance in this track. It was kind of all over the place, but the second verse was also really great at showing that, where it's like, you know, good quiet moments, good intense moments. Like, it sounds like he gave more of a shit doing this one. So, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more to appreciate vocally in this song than some of the songs we've heard on the back half, especially That's What I Get. Like, that was one of the weaker ones for sure. Yeah, and the chorus is just packed with all those different layers and textures too. It's so cool. It all melts together really nicely. And I've been trying not to make too many notes about like live comparisons to songs, but although I did in the beginning, but I've been trying not to do that for the entire album. I will say though, real Nine Inch Nails fans know about the inclusion of this song's bridge in the live version of Closer, which took me by surprise the first time I heard it. So yeah, like the bridge of this song appears in the bridge of Closer, because the bridge of Closer is like quiet, like, and it kind of builds up to the finale of the song. But then they added they made it more intense with like the Closer bridge this bridge in Closer. So I don't know, that's really cool. It's an absolutely supreme edition, although it has nothing to do with this review. I just wanted to mention that because, I mean, Nine Inch Nails fans know what's up.
I only have a danceable score, so I want to say that at the end.
I'm kind of done.
7 out of 10, period.
Fair. Yeah, because this one's got quieter moments, but the choruses really pick up the energy, so that works.
Yeah, so you kind of get that little relax, and then you're in. So it's not 10 out of 10, but it's on the good side of 5.
What was your 10 out of 10? Was that Head Like a Hole?
Oh, let me see. That is Head Like a Hole and Down in It. The only ones that were 10 out of 10 so far.
Cool. Look at that. It's 2 singles, too.
Oh, yeah. All
right, let's move on to the final track then. Ring Finger, as if this album was already about love. Can you imagine Ring Finger? I wonder what that means.
I'm going to ring your finger.
Sure, why not?
That starts with a W, never mind.
I was going to say the Loan Sharks are coming, I guess. I don't know.
No. The ping-ponging between left and right sides, you had mentioned that earlier in the album.
Yeah.
It just kind of goes back and forth. That is definitely all in like engulfing. It didn't annoy me at all, which normally it does. So
yes, I know. And that's why I was thinking about that when I heard it too.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like, it wasn't, I feel like the mix wasn't too loud. It wasn't too much. And I felt like, because in the context of the instruments used and the sound that I'm expecting stuff like that. So I feel like my brain's just not caught off guard as much.
Yeah.
The pre-chorus is eerie horror flick keyboards again. I like it. I'm down for it. I just wanted to mention it because like I want to hear more of that. It's cool. Spooky.
I will say that stereo bounce back and forth with the synth and everything like that. Yeah, like it tickled my ears a little bit with the headphones, but I do like that. Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. Because yeah, you're right. The mix isn't like all that intense on it. Like the notes aren't all that sharp in tone and anything like that.
Yeah.
So
That's
just kind of
sharp. I hate the sharp ones.
it works to like add intrigue and everything like that to the sound, so it kind of keeps your attention. The first verse is a little lackluster, but the second and third verses have like great pickups in them and everything like that. It kind of makes the track a little more fun at the very least. But that's kind of like a common thing to do too, where like the first verse or first chorus might be a little weaker. We already kind of talked about this like a song or two ago anyways.
Yeah.
This one did this, but yeah, it was pretty lackluster in the beginning, but picks up, so that's fine. The chorus, yeah, pulls back on the energy. It kind of goes in that like more atmospheric feel, but I think it kind of works here because it grounds the song out a little more and just kind of like lets you breathe a little bit. As I said, dark atmospheric vibe. As compared to those pulsing verses, that's the best way to describe the verses, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice use of both feelings though. Everything's kind of combined well. Nothing feels like, oh, why did they add this? This feels strange.
Right.
Like it feels like it fits. So I don't mind that. And the only other note I have, another song that has like notable guitar in it, I guess, and like it's a very bluesy guitar towards the end of the track. I like the little bit of extra life that it adds to close everything out. So it was pretty interesting to hear. And in foresight, although he probably wasn't even thinking about it at the time, to end the album on like guitar riffs is showing what's about to come in the next Nine Inch Nails project, because like obviously there's electronic elements, but Broken is very guitar driven, like super heavy guitar driven. So like it's kind of like that weird foreshadowing, even though he didn't even know type thing, but like you kind of hear that and then you pick up to Broken and you're just like, oh wow, he actually really went all out on the guitars on this one.
Interesting. That kind of reminds me of now I didn't notice this myself. I was actually told that Dream Theater starts their album how the previous one ended. So like if it ends with like Rain Against a Window, then the next album will start with Rain Against a Window and then it goes into the new album.
Trying to keep up that what's that word I'm looking for? Not consistency. It's kind of like that continuity.
Yes. And I never even noticed at all. I've never actually gone to listen to the last and first tracks of different albums, but I take their word for it. Now you mentioned the guitar. I mentioned it was a good addition here. I actually liked it. I agree with most, if not all, of what you said about this one. I feel like they threw every sound available into the ending. They're like, okay, we have like 81 keys on this pad, touch all of them. But it seemed fitting for the end of the record. It was sort of chaotic. Didn't feel that it was very danceable. There are certain parts of it, but I gave it a 4 out of 10. I've had better.
That's what she said.
Yeah, right?
She literally did. Savannah just said that.
I know what I wrote.
Exactly. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Ring Finger's never been like a huge track to me to listen to on this album, but like listening to it critically, I think I enjoyed it more than I do casually because I was like noticing more things about it. So I'll give it that much at the very least. But yeah, I mean, overall, just kind of I think it's like a decent career kickoff with this album though altogether. I mean, it's got some great staple tracks on it. But spoiler alert, things get tremendously better from here.
Good. I look forward to hearing more because I don't know. There are certain bands that we will do repeat albums and then comparing those albums. If I gave one a sort of shitty score, you hear another one, you're like, oh my God, like you start rethinking your score of the other one. You're like, well, I like this one so much. Was I too hard on the other one? And then you listen to that going, no, they just got better. This one actually did suck. And I hated it.
Well, it's funny because your like full first introduction was Year Zero, which was like 2006 or 2007, either or. But yeah, like, so you got to hear that. Trent's already kind of come into himself at that point, like long into his career and just trying a whole bunch of crazy shit. But now you get to hear the very beginning of it.
Yeah, it's where it started.
And also all those producers obviously did not follow him to future records. I think he had to follow it with Flood as well, who was like that big producer. So there was that too.
Is he known as being sort of controlling? Not like not aggressively, but enough where he has a vision, and if someone isn't able to help him see it through, he's like, fine, I'll just do it myself. And is that where these falling outs come from? Or
Maybe I'm not certain, like 100% certain about the story with Flood. I just know about TVT, and there was like a lot of creative differences. It could have been the same thing. In his earlier years, actually, for the Downward Spiral, like he was considered a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So like that was a tedious album to make apparently, but also like incredibly interesting because like of where they recorded it and everything that came along with that.
Mhm.
But then like I think in his later years, like it's mainly just like him and Atticus Ross in the studios, and it's just a very kind of like relaxed, open environment now where it's just like, let's try some shit and see what happens.
Well, that's good.
Obviously,
least
he's older now, so I mean, like, there you go.
Yeah, and he's not like, I don't know, trying to push himself into success. It's kind of like, I've had success. I'm currently having success. I can control more of what's going on with me and whatnot, rather than, hoping that somebody will lead you in the right direction. Now you're just like, no, this is the direction I want to go in. If my sales aren't good, doesn't matter. I have a back catalog that's, giving me royalties. This is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. And I always respect artists that give themselves that freedom. They don't ask for it, they take it. I like that.
Well, yeah, and like that's kind of Downward Spiral. I mean, like, and if you want to take that as any sort of like token as like Trent's ideas for creativity, I mean, like, there's a reason why people call him a genius in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about that a lot. That's going to have to happen one day. It really will. Wink, nudge.
Yeah.
It probably will at some point. But with that said, that we can close the book on Nine Inch Nails' pretty hate machine and really discussing the last album for season 4. God, it still feels weird that we're all the way at the end of the season.
Woo. Take a little break, come back all tan and worldly.
Ready to B-tier more albums?
Exactly. Go get a hand massage, crack my knuckles so I can write these shitty reviews. Oh, I cannot wait.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, except for I'm not right there physically with you. But yes, thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of the episode. Or not, we're not all the way at the end yet, but we're at the end of the review. So thank you very much for making it to the end of the review with us. So make sure you let us know what you think of the album down in the comments below wherever you're listening, because our comment section's everywhere. Yeah. Do you agree with us? Disagree with us? Like, what are your own individual thoughts? Curious to know, please let us know that. We are, again, super curious. We're also curious about other things too, like song rankings, album ratings. So I guess we'll get into those parts now because it's just more things to do on the podcast. So above our heads, boom, graphics have changed. There are names, there are numbers, and there's going to be more names, specifically song names, because we got to rank these songs now from what we feel was not so great to least favorite to favorite to sucky shit to absolute banger, whatever you want to classify it as. That's what we got to do.
Exactly. Well, how many do you think we're going to match? I'm just looking at my list going, I think 2. At least.
I'd be hopeful for 1, but I'm willing to say 0.
Oh, yeah?
I don't want our final episode of season 4 to be a 0, but I don't know. Maybe 1. Some things kind of felt like it lined up with what I was saying, but at the same time, I think it's going to be one of those one-off deals where it's like, I like this song, but you liked it just a little more or less than me. So
yeah.
Maybe one of those weird things. And then like our number 1 and number 10 are just like completely polar opposites. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's even possible for this one.
I still stick with 2. Just hopeful optimism.
Well, let's find out exactly where we sit on all this time to actually rank the songs. So let's get it started. Song number 10, That's What I Get.
Number 10, Something I Can Never Have.
Wow, it was that bad, eh?
No. That's a lie. That is definitely a lie. I cannot count.
Cool. Number 10, the very first song on the list.
Yeah, no, number 10 is That's What I Get.
Hey, okay, there we go. We matched.
They're not I cannot count.
Holy shit. I was
my number 9 now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. But like, I was like, there's no way you could have hated that as much, considering some of the things you were saying about other tracks.
Well, with my list, I have them in order, and then I have the actual score. And I messed up a little. So my bad. First time I've messed up this part in 4 seasons.
That's fine. So. I'm the one who usually like skips numbers, and you have to like correct me.
Right. So I don't feel too bad. But we did get one match with one already.
And as I said, I didn't think that our tops and bottoms were going to be like polar opposites. I just didn't think it was going to happen. Well, my number 9 is Sanctify, and just for the sake of continuity, what's yours?
Something I Can Never Have.
There you go. Just wanted to write that in. Number 8, Ring Finger.
Number 8, Kinda I Want To.
Maybe Just for Tonight. Yeah, kinda. I want to. And like my Windows my WordPad here is like trying to like correct me. It's like, no, I know how I'm spelling it. Trust me. Ring finger's one word too, and that wants to correct me on that too.
Yep.
Okay, number 7, sin.
Number 7, sin.
Cool. 2, Matt. There's your 2.
Yeah.
Can I just mention something too? So Sin has got to be the luckiest song in the world now because, at least on my list, it was song number 7 on this album.
Yeah.
It's both of our number 7s, and I scored the song a 7.
I scored it a 7.2.
Oh,
so I ruined it with the 0.2.
No, but for my list at the very least, I got the jackpot 777 going on.
That's pretty good.
And I did not plan it that way.
My slot machine would be 7, and then that last one would go clunk, and then I would lose.
Yeah, it would be like halfway, like the line is there. It's like, oh, fuck.
Right.
And it's like a sign just tells you to get the fuck out of the casino. Song number 6, something I can never have.
Number 6, ring finger.
Promise carved in stone. Offer it to me. Number 5, the only time.
Number 5, the only time. This is fucking sweet. Won't get the next one though. I'll tell you that much.
Probably not, but I'm looking to see what's the possibility of getting 4 because there's 3 tracks left to match.
Yes.
Out of 4 songs.
Yeah. And they could be in any order.
That's the thing. This is the part that always kills us. Number 4, down in it.
Number 4, sanctified.
Okay, cool. God, that was way up there on my list. That's your like about as polar opposite as it gets now. Number 3, kinda I want to.
Number 3, head like a hole.
Interesting. What song did you really like? Oh, I mean, okay. There's makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm wondering if this could be the telltale sign. Number 2, head like a hole.
Number 2, down in it.
Down in it. And number 1, terrible lie.
Number 1, terrible lie. This is fucking
there sweet. You go.
40%. This is awesome. 40% match. 40% match.
We got 4 on the final episode. Holy wild. Shit.
I thought, honestly, that we were going to get our number 10s matched. Eventually we did. But I was guessing 2 because I was like, you know what? I'll throw a second one out there. Hopefully we match. I did not expect 4. That was pretty good.
And hey, it's been a while since we've done this too. We've sandwiched it 10 and 1. And then we had things between. We sandwiched the score 4 out of 10.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think Terrible Lie was going to be your number 1, but it's definitely mine. It's been mine ever since I heard the song. Terrible
Lie and Head Like a Hole, I both scored 10s. But I was very close to choosing Head Like a Hole over top because like this is way more iconic. But there was something about Terrible Lie while I was listening to him, like, you know what? This just hits a lot better.
I'm very glad that you did. That's awesome.
4 to 10. We'll take it now. Pretty close with the matches. Let's see how we get close to the album rating now. We'll find that out. So move the screen over this way or something. I don't know, whatever I do in editing. For the last time in season 4, I mean, kind of technically, because we still have to... No, actually, yeah, this is the last time in season 4 that you'll see this. The album rating screen, oh my goodness. And it might even look a little different in season 5 because I'm probably going to spend time over the break like redesigning it a little bit. Because, as you can see, we're running out of space again in the beta. I think we have like 2 open spaces left. Breaking the fourth wall here, once again, for people who don't know, we can't currently see the album rating screen. It's something I do in Photoshop after we're done the episode.
Yeah, and Kris says, read me the list, peasant, and then
we do have like written scores in the Google Drive, and that's about it. So that's the only reason why we know where anything goes.
Spoiler.
But is that really a spoiler that we keep stats on our episodes?
Yes, it is a spoiler to the backstage. You know, it's a peek behind the curtain, and y'all didn't pay for this peek behind the curtain, so get back in the audience.
Exactly. So when we're done this podcast, you can exit stage left. There's this Rush reference just because whatever. Anyways, nice. It's time to find out where exactly this album's going to go. 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine debut. Now, obviously, the first 9 Inch Nails album. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that album like number 5 or 6 in our top ones? Number 4, maybe?
Which one is this one? The
Year
other
Zero?
one? That is number 5. Number 5
okay.
With an 81.16 combined.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume that Pretty Hate Machine did make that, but our first 9 Inch Nails one is at least in the A tier, so that's pretty cool. I'm not certain how I feel about this one, but we're going to find out anyways, so I think it's time to do that now. And, what's that? You're going first? Fantastic.
Oh, what's that? I was mentally and physically prepared. Now, The singles totally carried the album and my score. After about track 5, I started to doubt Kris's happiness with my score. But by the end, when I actually added it all up, I feel like I've kind of redeemed myself, and I gave this album a 81.00. So just crossed that finish line into the A tier, and then I passed out. So it's like the Boston Marathon.
So like a perfect 81, no weird decimal point or anything like that.
Not at all, just complete 81.
You did indeed redeem yourself, because I did not anticipate you going that high.
Right?
I was feeling like a 75 out of you or something like that.
Yeah, the good ones really pulled up the other ones, but I didn't. There were only a couple that I scored low, but I didn't go too low, because if they were playing, like if they came up on a playlist, I wouldn't change it. I would still listen to it. So, I mean,
I might cringe a little if that's what I get came on.
Well, yeah, I guess. Really depends.
Me being the resident Nine Inch Nails fan here, obviously, especially again, if you've seen my previous video of me ranking Nine Inch Nails albums, like I'm not super hot on Pretty Hate Machine, but I will say even my least favorite Nine Inch Nails album is still not a bad Nine Inch Nails album. Like I still like everything Trent does. I mean, it's still great, but obviously he's going to release some not so great tracks. Yeah. With that said, my God, you beat me on a score for a Nine Inch Nails album. Isn't that crazy? Because I gave this an even 78.
70. Oh my God, where's this now?
So
79.5.
It is 79.5 exactly. Yeah. So we do indeed have a B+ tier album. That's I don't know if that's the top one, but it's pretty damn close to top of B tier.
It is not. It sits between Oasis and Tomahawk. Oasis is at 79.31. Tomahawk 0.3 better than that. So nestled right in there. And then if this one is sitting there, then there's 1, 2, 3 better in the B tier.
Okay, so it's up there at the very least.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's already higher than I anticipated it being. Because I C-tiered this album on my own list, and that was without critiquing it, that was without breaking down shit like we did today, so obviously I found more I liked about it by doing that. But just in a casual listen, I've never been huge on Pretty Hate Machine, but hey, look at me, learning things about myself today, or maybe I've aged just enough to appreciate it.
Yay, look at me, I got better on the wrong album. Woo!
Yeah, you put Year Zero in the 70s and fucking Pretty Hate Machine in the 80s, but then that's you liking 80s stuff, so.
I did not do such a thing.
You must have, because I put it like an 86.
I am looking at this now. Oh, you were like high 70s. I am such a bad person.
I know you are, but what am I?
75, and then you did 86.
How does that make sense? Listen, I get you like 80s stuff. I get it. But I mean, like, how does that make sense?
If I don't understand, then clearly it does not make sense.
Oh, I smell an album redux coming real soon. We have 6 weeks off.
Yeah, you know what? Anyone that I look at and I'm outraged, like I feel like deserves something.
Especially in comparison to other albums. Like, I heard you talk more shit on this album than you did Year Zero. So, like, that says a lot.
Dang.
You have 16 songs. You're not allowed to.
In season 8, we'll do it again.
Oh, great. No. Redux is that's your own solo video. It's like 5 minutes long, and I changed the score. That's about it.
Good.
Cool. And with that, we'll just swipe back over. Boom, we're back on regular screen now. Hey, look at us, faces and everything. For the final time in season 4. Technically, you will see this again, because if you know anything about the end of our seasons, you know that we have our we're not there for the best of, but we next week we have our ranking number 1 video, but I'll get into that momentarily, because right now I have to close out this episode and this season officially. That is the end of Nine Inch Nails Pretty Hate Machine, us discussing it, us ranking songs, rating records, and talking about music for 18 fucking episodes. You don't think it's going to be as long as it is until you finally get to the last episode. Like, look how much we've done. Like, the Tea Party feels like an eternity ago, and that was the beginning of season 4.
Well, you always say, like, you'll lead with this episode, whatever, and saying 78. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I know what 78 is, but you don't really quantify it until you're going through, like, for you and I, going through the list of ones that we've already done, or referring back to Nirvana's Nevermind. And it's like, that was like 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
Really? Like it wasn't that long, but it feels long too.
Well, and I mean, consider that this album that we're giving away, that I'll mention in a second, even though I already did, Arctic Monkeys, was the end of season 2. This was episode 44. 44.
Wow.
It's been that long.
Oh,
Nearly
Lord.
40 episodes ago, like 35 episodes at this point. Almost, kind of. You get what I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, we've been doing this for way too long. So are we retiring? Of course not. You know there's going to be season 5. We've already alluded to it. Now we're contractually obligated to do it.
And then season 5 just starts with a lookalike, like of us, both
Oh,
of
it'll
us.
just be AI at that point. We're going to get the video, the audio, everything. We're not even going to do these anymore.
Imagine. Oh, I have many weeks to concoct my season 5 debut.
Oh, and I want to make it really look and sound very uncanny. You know, I want it to be kind of surreal.
Oh my God. Yes.
Well, anyways, yes, we are at the end of the episode. So thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of this episode with us. So again, we want to know your opinions that you have on this particular album. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What are your own thoughts on this? How would you rank songs? How would you rate the record? Let us know down in the comments below wherever you're watching and or listening to this podcast, because again, we just want to know your opinions. We're not alone on this. We want you to be part of the musical community. As I mentioned every single time for the past 18 episodes, for the past 78 episodes, no matter how long you've been here, I've said it every single time. So please let us know.
And like and subscribe, or we'll find where you live.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, because I usually bring that up, but I always got to let you interject at some point so I can breathe.
Yeah. And so I can get all this pent up energy while you're talking. I'm sitting there rocking back and forth. And then when you're done, I'm like, I have nothing to say.
Fuck, he said everything already.
Right. I'm like, yeah, what he said. Ratetherecord.ca. Don't forget to go there.
Yes, exactly. You can go there and find all of our social media links and everything, all of our streaming links where you can like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, follow, all those things to help us build the musical community. You can also find the album request link, because we want to hear your request for season 5. Hell, even into season 6. We'll just keep carrying it on forever and always. There's never an end to that. Oh my God, there's never an end to this podcast. You
Never.
can go ahead.
No, that was it. It was just the double down on the never ending.
Yeah,
Never.
it's just the shock that we're going to be doing this when we're 60.
Yes. Yep. I was listening to a podcast recently and they're like, how old are you? And he's like, oh, 40. He's like, do you think we were going to do this at 50? He's like, I didn't think I was going to do this at 40. Like, I have no idea why people still listen to this. And I share those sentiments sometimes, but appreciative nonetheless.
Once we hit season 10, we'll be having like midlife crisis, panic attack type shit.
Right.
And then another thing you can do over on ratetherecord.ca, as I said, just already lifted this in front of the camera, but for audio listeners, again, Arctic Monkeys, whatever people say I am, that's what I am not. Brand new vinyl copy that I have my hands audio. You can hear that. Asthma is so delicious. Daddy Trent, whatever, anything. Yes, May 2023. That's what we're giving away. So by all means, hit that link. Enter the contest if you live in Canada, US, UK, or Australia. Good luck if you do. It's our most popular episode out there. In the audio world, it's either Tool or Saul Williams, actually, crazy enough.
Interesting.
But for YouTube, for sure, Arctic Monkeys just absolutely killing it. It surpassed Bungle, which was surprising.
Nice. I like that album. I mean, go check it out and find out.
That is 2 seasons old. It's okay by now.
Like
if we're not afraid to spoil TV shows that are 2 or 3 seasons ago, it's fine. Whatever. Go watch the episode though. It's fine. What songs did we like or hate? That's what you don't know.
True. How many did we match? You'll never know.
But aside from just closing out this episode, I do want to say thank you for everyone who's been checking out season 4. Any season of the podcast, but we're in season 4, so I'm going to make it specific. If you watched a few episodes, 1 episode, all the episodes, whatever you watched, thank you very much for helping us grow. Our subscriber count's been growing, our view count's been growing, our community's been growing, people interacting with us have been growing. It's been good to see, and we want more of that coming in season 5, so please hang around, enjoy yourselves, go binge the episodes that you haven't watched yet, even the older seasons. The further back you go, the worse we get. But the idea,
oh my God.
But the idea is, we still want you to hang around, and season 5 is going to be a hell of a lot of fun too. So stick around; it's going to be fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Is there a hint for next week?
I was going to say I stole your fucking lines again.
No, that's fine.
Lines, quote unquote, because obviously all this is scripted. That's why I ramble too much. I write how I speak, so that's why it's rambling.
That is fine. You let me go, and I will ramble about anything, and then forget where I started. So
season 5 will begin in June. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but we're off for essentially 6 weeks right now. Actually, it might even be Beginning of July. Yeah, beginning of July is when we're coming back. So there you go. 6 weeks off. But in that time, you can still expect content from us. So next week, we will be back ranking all of our favorite number one songs from the season from least favorite to most favorite. So you might want to check that one out. Those are always fun to do. I always like doing those ones. You get to revisit all the best songs of the season.
It's so hard to do because it's like picking a favorite out of all your children. You're like, I love all of you equally. How am I to do this? And sometimes it's nerve-wracking.
We made this joke before, and I told you my response, whichever one shows me the most love is the one I love the most. You go ahead and suck up to me, and that's the one I'll take.
I'll take that 20. Thank you. So I love you, little Johnny.
I have to find out which song sucks up to me the most, and we're going to find that out next week when we rank all of the number ones. The week after that, the best of season 4, that always follows just to really truly close up the season. So all the moments that we thought were the funniest, even if they're not, whatever, I don't care, screw you. We're going to show them anyways. So make sure you tune in for that, because I always like making those videos too. Those are a lot of fun. We both have some I Love the Song videos coming out, so you can expect those in the coming weeks as well. Our NMRs will be out, and I don't know, maybe just some weird bonus shit we'll see what happens, because there's gonna be a couple of weeks where nothing happens. So
yeah,
we'll see. Let's see how much content we can do or not do. I need to rest.
We need to rest. I have a BBL scheduled over the break, so that's what I'll be doing.
A big black, what's the L?
Brazilian butt lift.
Ah, okay. We had different ideas, but kind of in the same range.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we let you go, we usually give you a sneak peek and an idea of what to expect next week. But again, we're not here next week except for the ranking number one songs. What can you expect in season 5? Because we schedule our shit out forever, but still send in your requests. We're not afraid to just interject those whenever. So for season 5, there's a few things you can expect. First off, a handful of bands are coming back, including through requests themselves, so you can anticipate that. There's 2 people in specific I know made requests this season. We didn't even really acknowledge it, but you probably know who you are. They're bands we've done before. They are coming in season 5, so don't worry. We just had to kind of give space between those bands. So that's going to be pretty cool. But also, we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary in season 5. It's going to be happening at the end of August. Longtime listeners probably already know what the album is that we're going to do, because if you go back and you kind of connect the dots, you know exactly what we're doing. Yeah, and that's pretty much the theme of every year. So you have an idea. So maybe you can look forward to that if you like that thing. I don't want to say what it is out loud. There are a few album anniversaries coming up, speaking of anniversaries. So there's a lot to kind of look forward to. We're even kicking the season off with an album anniversary too. It's not a rock album either. There you go. I'll give you that much of a clue. So that's your clue for the next episode. There's 20, 25, and 35-year anniversaries coming up, so that's going to be pretty cool. Savannah's birthday album might be a little controversial, and as long as we don't... So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait till we get to that one. That one's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it more.
Gotta wait to the end of the year, so...
Yeah, that's November, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to be so fucking interesting when that pops up. People are going to be like, oh, God.
Yep, we're turning this off, and then we're just going to sit here.
Yes, we are doing Aha for Savannah's birthday.
Laugh. Oh, my God, I've listened to new Aha. No, shit, it was a different band. Never mind. I was going to say that they're shit, but
they're not even around anymore.
Yeah.
Because one of the members is dead, by the way.
Is it actually? Are they actually?
George Michael is dead.
No, that's Wham.
Oh, it is Wham. They're all the same to me. Whatever. Fucking... They're literally all this 80s boy band, whatever bullshit. Anyways, and there's also one more thing to say about season 5 too. So long as we are going to have a mid-season break like we usually do, but so long as we don't miss any other recordings, we're going to hit episode 100 in season 5. And we're planning something for it's very special for episode 100. So, and it's going to go beyond just us looking at each other in a webcam, wink nudge anyways. More details to come way the fuck down the road, because that's way then, but this is now the end of episode 78, the episode of season 4. Once again, thank you very much for following us this far. Follow us into the 5th season. It's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, go listen to some awesome music like 9 Inch Nails, because they're awesome.
Yes.
And we'll see you in season 5. So take care, friends.
Bye-bye.